overcast day greets us here at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati on a big day for the Reds. A win gets them their third consecutive series victory and a .500 record going into the off day tomorrow. Reds and the Astros on Fox Sports Ohio. Hi, and a pleasant good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jim Couch along with Chris Welsh. Welcome to Reds baseball. Well, yesterday the Reds were able to get the win and get even in this series after losing here on Friday, and certainly the pitching of Johnny Cueto was a big part of it, and certainly the hitting of Jay Bruce was a big part of it. But, Chris, maybe the biggest of the three was the defense played behind Johnny Cueto. What a great job the Reds did defensively.
Well, you're right about that, Jim. You can't get good pitching without good defense, and man, oh man, the defense was there for Johnny Cueto. How about the play by Zach Cozart in the hole from the seat of his pants? That may be the best play you'll see a shortstop make all year. Another one as he reaches into the stands. They had the gloves really working. Of course, Scott Rowland, you expect this out of him from his knees. No problem at all for Rowland. Good pick at the other end. But overall, the Reds played great defense yesterday. Two double plays, one there by Jay Bruce, and Johnny Cueto likes it.
Well, Jay Bruce has not won a Gold Glove, and nor, of course, has Zach Cozart. But who knows? Maybe in the future they'll get those.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did. They certainly play well enough. It's just a matter now of being recognized by the rest of their peers and coaches around the league to be able to get that Gold Glove award.
Well, the Reds look for the series win today. They look to do it behind the right arm of Matt Latos, who tries to copy what he did his last time out against the San Francisco Giants.
Reds. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Fans filing into the ballpark here. Let's take a look at today's weather, brought to you by Thompson Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Drain Cleaning. Here is Scott Dimick of WKRC, Channel 12.
If you're heading out to Great American Ballpark this afternoon, expect a small chance for rain and some limited clearing. For the first pitch, 60 degrees. For the seventh inning stretch, we'll be up to 63. For the final out, and as you head back to the car, we'll have a temperature in the mid-60s. Enjoy the game.
All right, thank you, Scott. Well, Matt Latos, Chris Welsh on the mound today, and certainly they'd love to see with the Reds the same thing today that they saw last Tuesday against San Francisco.
Well, he looked like he was so much more in control of his emotions his last time out against the Giants. Yes, he was focused. He pitched against a team that he's had plenty of starts against before, the Giants that is, and did very well. And I think the same thing you can expect of him today. He's pitched a fair number of games, 4 of them overall in his career against the Houston Astros, and he's done very well overall. But he's not faced any of these players on this particular Astro team all that much. You see what he did in his first 3 outings. His longest outing was only 5 2/3, but his last start, he went by all of the other ones. He's 7 innings, no earned runs, 4 hits. That's the kind of stuff that Matt Latos has. That's the kind of stuff, now that he did it once, you expect it out of him again today.
Well, let's hope the Reds continue to get good pitching today from Latos, good hitting from Jay Bruce, and maybe, if they get all that, they can win their 8th straight home series here at GABP against the Houston Astros. Brought to you by the 2012 Ford F-150 Motor Trend Truck of the Year by Cincinnati, USA. Let us be your travel guide to Cincinnati. Visit CincinnatiUSA.com, and by Skyline Chili. Game time is Skyline time. Stop by your favorite Skyline Chili today. Middle series of this 3-team, 9-game homestand for the Reds closes out today against Brad Mills' Houston Astros. Houston a winner here 6-4 Friday. And last night, yesterday afternoon, Dusty Baker's 9-1, 6-0 behind the strong arm of Johnny Cueto. Let's take a look now at the Houston Astros starting lineup. Jordan Schaefer, Jose Altuve, Jed Lowry, the top 3. In the middle, J.D. Martinez cleanup. Travis Buck makes his 2nd straight start. Matt Downs again over at first base. And the bottom 3, Chris Johnson, Jason Castro catching, Jordan Lyles pitching and batting 9th. And that lineup will face the right-hander on the mound for the Reds, Matt Latos.
Making start number 5 is a big, tall right-hander from Coconut Grove, Florida. Came out of the Broward Community College, drafted by the Padres, actually signed by Bruce Bochy's brother. Bruce Bochy, of course, the manager of the Giants, and ended up over here via a big-time trade. And Matt Latos kind of set the bar a little bit higher for himself his last time out against the Giants. You kind of expect that now out of him. 7 innings of shutout baseball. He dominated. The one thing Latos is doing a little bit more of this year, he's going to his changeup and his curveball more than he's going to his slider. Last few years, he's been fastball, slider, and then changeup. Now he's fastball, slider, curve, and then, curve, and changeup, and then the slider being the pitch he's not using quite as much. So trying to get the ball down the zone, pitching in a small ballpark, that's always a good idea. But he's pitched in his career very well against the Houston Astros, and that always gives a pitcher a little extra incentive and feeling of confidence when you've had success against this ball club before.
Well, let's see how this big right-hander does against the Astros. He's 1-2 on the year. He's 3-1 in 4 career starts against the Astros. Top 3 in the lineup today for Houston, the same as the top 3 in the lineup yesterday afternoon. You can see the sun is trying to break through here on this Sunday, April the 29th, last Sunday, the first month of the 2012 baseball season. Reds trying to get back to the 500 mark. They've been there at 1-1, at 2-2, at 9-9, and now trying to get there at 11-11 if they can get the win today. First pitch misses for ball 1. We are underway from Great American Ballpark. 57 degrees here at GABP. We get this third and final game of the series started. Schaefer, who yesterday had 1 hit in 4 trips, meaning he has a 6-game hitting streak, and meaning he now has reached base in 21 consecutive games, or all 21 games that his ball club has played, in the leadoff spot. And on the grass at third is Roland. Two balls and 1 strike. Pardon me. Todd Frazier playing third base today. Roland getting the day off after starting the first 2 games of this series. In the air and foul and playable. Votto handles it for out number 1. Here's a look at the Reds defensively now. Behind the right-hander Matt Latos. In the outfield, Ludwig, Stubbs, and Bruce. On the infield, Frazier and Cozart left side. Phillips and Votto on the right side. A battery of Ryan Hannigan and Matt Latos. Interesting to note that Hannigan starting his 2nd straight game behind the plate with Latos after Mesoraco started the first 3. Defensive look of the Reds, brought to you by your Ford dealers.
I think that's worth noting, Jim. It's a good point, because Dusty Baker went out of his way after his last start, Latos that is, to say, hey, you know what, I changed up the catcher on him. Latos is the kind of guy that wants a catcher to kind of think for him, to go through the scouting report, call the pitches, and he's just out there ready to call, or throw, that is, whatever that catcher wants to throw. Some guys want to call their own game, like a Bronson Arroyo. And, of course, he works with Hannigan almost exclusively, and I'm wondering if now we're going to see that more and more now with Latos and Ryan Hannigan, since they had such good success last time.
Latos to Jose Altuve, their second baseman. He's at a ball and 2 strikes. Comes in 3rd in the league in hitting at 359. A homer, 10 runs batted in. 2 out of 9 in this series. Close, but just missing there to even things at 2-2.
Well, when he hits the ball to right field, Altuve does not really drive it all that much. Another look at this one. You see where Hannigan is. He's set up off the plate. That is not a strike. But he holds it right there. Latos hit the mitten where he wanted to. And Jay Bruce has snuck in on him a little bit in right field.
Reaching for that breaking ball. Altuve stays alive.
When you see a breaking ball from Latos, it's in the 80s. I mean, from 81 to 84 miles an hour. That's his slider. He'll throw a curveball that is around 78 to 79. Then his changeup is a little bit slower than that.
Late cut on that ball, and it will drop fair inside the right field line off the bat of Altuve. Bruce will get it in, and that's a double for the second baseman of the Astros, and Houston has a first inning opportunity. That's the 7th double of the year. Tops on this Houston club for Jose Altuve.
This young man Altuve, like the little engine that could, he just thinks he can, even though he's diminutive in stature, 5'5". Hey, Jose, you better start running right here. That ball stays fair. He's not sure where it is, where it's going to go. He thought he sliced it enough that it would go foul, but it was right near the line, and he ends up with a double. Didn't mean to, but he got one.
Had his 5-game hitting streak snapped yesterday when he went 0 for 4. He gets a double here in the first inning, bringing Jed Lowry to the plate.
Well, you know you're going good when you get a double like that and you stand at the plate and you watch it thinking, Fair or foul? I better run.
Here's a switch hitting Lowry. Yesterday in the game, 1 for 3. He was one of 2 walks and 3 base runners allowed by Aroldis Chapman in the 9th inning yesterday afternoon in that 6-0 Reds win. Hammers this ball into right field, and Altuve is going to score. And the Astros take a 1-0 lead. They had been shut out against the Reds for 14 consecutive innings and had snapped here in the first as Lowry drives in his fourth.
Well, there must be something in the scouting report on Jed Lowry that says you should throw the ball up to him, and you can see where Ryan Hanigan wanted it. Look where Hanigan, he wants it up and in, and it's pretty close to the spot where Hanigan wanted it. Maybe it came back out over the plate a little bit, but Jed Lowry was all over it. Rips it for a nice single, and after a bloop double, the Astros score first here in the first inning.
First inning run they've scored in this series. Now the batter, their cleanup man, left fielder J.D. Martinez. Didn't drive in a run yesterday, still sitting at 19, which is good for 4th in the league, along with his 3 home runs. Hitting .297. One of the 2 youngsters that we highlighted yesterday in the pregame show, Altuve and Martinez. In the series, he's 1 out of 7.
You know, there's a point to be made about that pitch that Matt Latos throws to Lowry for a base hit. He wants it up here. You see where Ryan Hanigan is, but the problem is you don't want, there's a spot here in the strike zone that you don't want to throw it, and it's right here. You really want that pitch up here somewhere, and that's where he wanted it. So the point is, if you're going to miss your spot, don't miss it over the plate. Miss it inside by 6 inches rather than out over the plate by 6 inches. The difference there being a run picked up by the Astros.
So he got it up, but not up and in the right spot.
Exactly. Yeah, that's really the place you just don't want to miss, is in the middle of the zone. And not that it was in the middle of the zone. You saw on our Fox tracks that it was still up in the zone, but it was a strike. He didn't necessarily need to throw a strike right there.
We talked yesterday.
I always tell young kids, Jim, that, you know, when your base is loaded and you got a hitter up there and you miss your spot and you miss it out over the plate and the guy hits a double off the center field wall, he drives 3 runs in, he looks at you from second base like he owns you. Now, if you miss your spot by 6 inches inside and you hit him in the ribs, what happens? Well, one guy goes to first base. You get 1 run in because you forced a run in with the hit batter, but that runner at first base looks at you and look at you now as a pitcher and say, hey, did he mean that? I mean, is this guy crazy or what? Maybe I'm not going to dig in so much next time. So it helps you the next time up and the time beyond that. Not now. Jed Lowry thinks, hey, I'm seeing Latos pretty good. Nothing wrong with this guy. I'm going to go up there hacking again next time.
Matter of confidence.
Exactly. Now, please, do not get me wrong. I'm not condoning hitting anybody. I'm just condoning when you're going for a spot on the edge of the strike zone and you miss your spot, make sure that you don't miss it out over the center of the plate. Miss inside or miss outside, and you can come back and get him on the next pitch.
And the point I was going to make, too, regarding Lowry, much better hitter from the left side over 300 than the right side where he's under 150. Stubbs will chase this ball down right in front of and now on the warning track and makes the catch. Lowry retreats to first, and that's the second out of the inning. Batter will be Travis Buck. the Reds trying to hang on to second place in the National League's Central Division with action today. Yesterday, the Cardinals won again over Milwaukee, so they've won the first 2 games of that series. The Reds begin the day in sole possession of second place, 4 games out, a half game ahead of Milwaukee. Reds enjoy the off day tomorrow. Then the Cubs come in, the final of the 3 teams to visit GABP during this 9-game homestand. Houston goes home, starts a 9-game homestand against the Mets. Here's a look at the NL Central. Cardinals 7 over. Reds trying to get, as I mentioned, to the 500 mark for the 4th time this year. Go into the off day at 11-11. It'd be nice to have won a 3rd straight series and get to 500 and enjoy the off day tomorrow.
Well, that's true. I mean, you want to win series. That's the bottom line. I don't think anybody in this clubhouse is thinking about getting to 500 other than Dusty Baker and the broadcasters. We tend to look at it in a macro sense, and most players tend to look at it from day to day. What time does the bus leave? What time is batting practice? Who's pitching?
And occasionally look up and see where they are in the standings?
Yeah, well, occasionally. But I mean, but even then, I think from a ball player's perspective, that you really look at things in a very micro way. It's like, what are we doing today? And it's up to the manager to look things in a bigger perspective. Who are we going to pitch against who? Who am I going to rest? What's my bullpen look like? Players show up and they want to play that day.
You're not saying that they aren't aware, though, of their positioning in terms of how many games they've won, how many games they've lost, where they are in the standings.
You know what? I would bet that if you took a query of the 25 guys that are in that clubhouse, that you couldn't find, you'd find 5 or 6 of them that had no idea what the win-loss record was.
Really? That's amazing.
They would say, well, we're under 500, but they wouldn't know where they are in the standings, how many they are out. No.
Should that be shocking?
It's been like that forever.
Buck in the air to center. Stubbs chasing. Chubbs chasing. Up against the wall. Drew makes the catch to retire the side. Well, we highlighted defense on our open, and it continues here this afternoon as Drew Stubbs catches the ball, bangs into the wall, hangs on for the 3rd out. Park, he very well may have. That looked like it might have hit the top of the yellow line and bounced over had Drew not been there. And he gets the glad hand in the dugout, particularly from Matt Latos, and he will be, of course, the leadoff man this afternoon as we segue right into the Reds lineup. Drew Stubbs, Zach Cozart at number 2, and then Votto, Phillips, Bruce, and Ludwig in the middle. Frazier getting the start at 3rd. Hannigan batting 8th and catching, and Latos pitching and batting 9th against a young man just called up today. from the AAA club at Oklahoma City of the Houston organization, Jordan Lyles.
I had a good run of it in Oklahoma City, as you see there, a 4-0 record for the Okie 89ers. He was 2010. He was the Astros minor league pitcher of the year. In high school, a 3-sport star. In fact, he was so good at football that he had committed to University of South Carolina to be a wide receiver for the Gamecocks, and at the last moment decided to sign a professional contract coming out of high school instead.
Houston took him, of course, in the first round, and as of last year, he was the #1 prospect in the Houston organization. Made his big league debut last year against the Chicago Cubs up at Wrigley Field. Pitched very well, didn't get a win in that game, and in fact took him till his 12th start last year to get his first win, and that came in Houston against Dusty's Reds.
Pitched a pretty good game in that particular ball game. I think he went something like 7 innings and only gave up 3 runs. So, you know, the one thing about Lyles that he's changed from last year to this year that may indicate why he's had a better run in AAA is that he's gotten away from that cut fastball. He's going back to his normal fastball, and he's bumped up his velocity in the process. So he's throwing about 2 or 3 miles an hour, maybe even 4 miles an hour harder than he did.
He gets stubs on strikes for out #1 as we'll take a look at the Houston defense, brought to you by your Ford dealers. Across the outfield, they have J.D. Martinez, Jordan Schaefer in center. Right fielder again today is Travis Buck. On the infield, Johnson and Lowry, Altuve and Downs. The battery of Castro and Lyles. Here's Cozart. Zach had a hit in yesterday's game, snapped a 1 for 13, but boy, it was his defense that we were talking about. We showed you a couple of the plays in the pregame, and he made a couple of others that were very, very good defensive plays as well. And I like the term you used, Chris, about him, stage presence, both offensively and defensively.
Well, you know, it just seems like some guys have it and some guys don't, and he's not anywhere near being awed by being at this level. I mean, he might be on the inside, but he certainly doesn't show it.
Comes into the game at 259. A homer and 3 runs batted in. A couple of hits in this series.
And don't get me wrong, he's not a cocky guy. He's not a guy walking around with his chest puffed out or anything like that. He has respect for the game. He has respect for his teammates, which is very important. But he has that little inner self-confidence that just you look at him and say, you know what, this guy's a big leaguer, and he carries himself like one. And so far, he's playing like one.
You see the difference in his batting average when he hits in the 1 spot versus the 2. That graphic showed you what he was over 340 at #2. Look at his average as the #1 man. It's under 200. He's batting 2 today, and he draws a walk with 1 man out. Chris, I want to go back to something you said about Jordan Lyles, because you've mentioned it before regarding other pitchers, and that is that he's gotten away from the cut fastball and gone back to the fastball. Explain what you mean by all that.
Well, I'm going to have to do a tech talk on the cutter and really what the effect of it is. But basically what you do is you take your fastball, and instead of putting your fingers on top of the seams and throwing it straight, you put them on the side, and you try to cut the ball so that it runs in. If you're a right-handed pitcher, runs into a left-handed hitter. But in the process, you don't throw it as hard. And you change your arm angle just a little bit when you do that, and you change your arm speed. So if you fall over the cutter enough, there is a theory out there that says you lose your fastball. You bump down on the radar gun a few miles an hour on the fastball. I think that was one of the problems that happened with Travis Wood. When he had great success in the minor leagues and was pitching here and pitching really well, he was fastball, curveball, changeup, whatever. And then he fell in love with that cutter, and it took something off his fastball. So Lyles got away from that this year. He's bumped up a little bit in his fastball, and last year he was around 88, 89. Now he's throwing harder. So he likes what he's done. I think that the temptation to add a new pitch is great, because you can learn a cutter in about 15 minutes and use it that same day. But in the long run, I think unless you're born to throw one, maybe you should just not throw it too often.
So help me understand, what is it about the cutter that takes away from your fastball?
Well, I think it's a transition pitch between your cutter and your fastball.
Runner going. And a bad throw. That was not a good position for Castro to come up and throw. The pitch was down and in with a left-handed hitter up there. And Cozart gets his first steal.
Yeah, that's the hardest of all spots for a catcher to try to field, throw a runner out. You've got a left-handed hitter up. The ball comes down. He's got to backhand the ball and come up throwing. And beyond that, Zach Cozart had a big jump. I think, Jim, is that you use it enough that you don't have the same snap or whip on your fastball after you start throwing your cutter.
Votto hits the deck on that one, up and in.
And he wants it in. You see where Castro is set up, and he throws a perfect knockdown pitch, but it's just an unintentional ball that got away from him. See what Votto does now.
Joey looking for his 12th RBI of the year, and that's Cozart out at second base. And he hits it hard toward right, but Buck will make the play for the second out.
Always interesting to see what a hitter does after a knockdown pitch. I mean, it was not intentional, I wouldn't think, by Jordan Lyles. He doesn't know Joey Votto. There's no history between them. There's no animosity between these two ball clubs. But some guys get knocked down and they get back in the batter's box with a whole different approach, that they're much more resolute in their conviction of staying in there and showing that hitter that he's going to have a good pop at it. You know, look what Buster Posey did the other night after Sam LeCure went after him, missed him, ended up hitting a home run.
Yeah, the ultimate payback right there.
I think Votto is one of those guys that you don't want to knock down because you kind of wake him up.
Here's Brandon Phillips now. He gets the RBI chance in inning number 1 to tie this game. Brandon yesterday, multi-hit affair, 2 out of 4. RBI triple in the first. Single again in the 5th. So in this series, he's 3 out of 7. Comes in a hit in 7 of his last 8 games. Hard toward the middle. Backhand pick by Altuve. And a throw to end the inning. So the Reds strand the tying run at second base. 1 complete. 1-0 Houston.
The tough losses that we've had, the lack of hitting, for a better word, by the overall by our group of guys that we know can hit, by late inning losses, and to still come out this month at 500, which we have a chance to do, is a big deal.
Storylines brought to you by Elk & Elk. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. And I guess Dusty's soundbite there, Chris, reiterates what you're talking about in terms of him knowing about the feel-good portion of today's game, but maybe not so his players.
I mean, the players really, I hate to make them sound like they're simple, but the basic fact is that most players are. And the simpler that you can keep it as a player, the easier it is for you.
Chance in left field for Ludwig, and he handles it to get the top of the second inning started off the bat of Matt Downs.
I mean, you know, what time does the bus leave? What time is the game tonight? Are we taking infield? Is there extra hitting? Who's pitching against us? Who do they have in the bullpen? Those are the things that concern the players from day to day. They really don't look at the macro view of, you know, who's leading the league. And now it's a lot easier nowadays because every clubhouse has big screen TVs everywhere, and there's the MLB channel on. There's all sorts of, you know, sports stations where you can check the standings and check the stats and so on. But it used to be the only place you could find the stats was on the official stat sheet. And if it was in the clubhouse and you were caught looking at it by some veterans, they'd grab it from you and say, what are you looking at stats for? Stats are for losers. Get out there and win a ball game.
And keeping in mind, this is not an indictment on players. This is simply how it goes day in, day out.
If you were a player, you'd probably be doing the same thing. There's only so much you can process. And it's hard enough trying to figure out what that other guy's doing to try to get you out without having to process a lot of other stuff like you do, like how long Tim Lincecum's hair is.
Correct. Well, Dusty talked about a feel-good day today. Ball shot now past third off the bat of Chris Johnson, the third baseman. That'll rattle around and not come out of the corner for Ludwig. He has to go in and get it. And that's a double for Chris Johnson, the second extra base hit of this game for the Astros. And for Johnson, that is double number 6. And another scoring chance for the Houston club.
Well, he hit a double the other night on a pitch that was a breaking ball. That looked like a changeup that just came right out over the plate. Again, Matt Latos wanted that ball down and in. It was up and in on a changeup, and he just kind of slowed his swing down and was able to get it down the line.
The number 8 hitter now, the catcher, Jason Castro. Comes up there, left-hander, caught in the game here on Friday in the 6-4 Astros win. Went 1 for 4 with a run batted in. And he hits the ball hard into right. Bruce will field on a hop, and Dave Clark will hold the runner at third. Johnson, first and third with 1 out. 4 hits now given up by Matt Latos, who gave up only 4 hits in 7 innings worth of work on Tuesday against the Giants.
Well, he was hitting his spots against the Giants. He's not hitting his spots right now. We showed you the double by Altuve, the base hit by Lowry, the double by Chris Johnson, all of those pitches up and out over the plate in so-called the hot zone. What he's got to do now is stay stubborn with this. This stuff is fine, but he's got to be able to find a way to get the release point so he can throw the ball to the glove.
Here's the pitcher, the number 9 hitter, Jordan Lyles. Career 120 hitter. He did have a couple of hits down at Oklahoma City earlier this year. A little bunt. That's going to be a foul ball. Foul ball called by the home plate umpire, Ted Barrett.
Well, Lyles was not running out of the batter's box very hard. You got to figure that he's somewhat of a speedster if he was recruited by an SEC school to play wide receiver. So he knew right away it was a foul ball. So at least the Reds have an idea now what he's going to be doing up there.
Astros got a single from Lowry in the first that scored Altuve to take a 1-0 lead. And now here, first and third, 1 out, trying to add to that lead. Frazier creeping in from third. You have to go all the way back 3 years, basically from this weekend, April 27 through 29, 2009. The last time Houston came in here to Cincinnati and won a series. 7 consecutive series won by the Reds heading into this one today. This has been an Achilles heel, this GABP for the Astros. Squeeze is on, laid down by Lyles. They'll get the out at first. Scoring from third is Johnson, and it's 2-0 in favor of the Astros. Well, that pitch came a little bit up and in, and Lyles did a good job to get the wood on it, didn't he?
Well, that's your job. When you've got the squeeze on, it doesn't matter where the pitch is. You've got to get the bat on it somewhere. Foul it off, do whatever you can, and That ball came right up on and in on him. A good place for a pitcher to throw a ball if you think a bunt is coming.
See Johnson charging down the line from third, and look at Lyles. He takes a couple steps back after making contact.
Good shot of that successful squeeze play, brought to you by Performance Honda.
Lyles credited with a sacrifice and an RBI, and a 2-0 Houston lead. Top of the order now, and Schaefer. Schaefer did not strike out yesterday, although he is still atop the strikeout list in the National League with 29, 2 ahead of Ricky Weeks of Milwaukee.
Now that's the pitch that Matt Latos has not found a good release point on yet today, the slider. Last game he had against the Giants had it working. He had the changeup working, had the slider working, dropped in a couple of big overhand curveballs. But he's still trying to find that release point.
Schaefer fouled out to Votto at first, his first time.
That's a changeup right there, and that's a good indication that he's just not quite in sync with his delivery, because you're looking for that pitch down and away, you end up throwing it around the letters. I mean, for a major league pitcher, that's a big miss.
He's falling behind now, 2-1. Castro leading away at second base.
That one, Angel Campos had a dance out of the way of that. You didn't ask me about Angel Campos yet, but I'll tell you about him. And
please do.
He's only umpired 3 games behind the plate this year. His number this year is 59.60. Now, of course, that number, as we refer to it every day, most of the time I explain it, is the percentage of strikes that an umpire will call of all the strikes he sees in a ball game. Last year, his number was 63.38. So he's a little bit stingier so far today with the strike, or this year with the strike zone, than he was last year. But I'm sure by the time the end of the year rolls around, he'll be right there where he was last year, middle of the road.
He jumps in here and replaces Ted Barrett on this crew, your guy. Now a strike, and so a full count to Jordan Schaefer. Latos and the Reds trying to minimize the damage here, down 2-0 in the top of the second. Schaefer's driven in 8 on the year. He's hit in 6 in a row. Breaks his bat. Votto with a pick and a high feed. Safe the call at first base. Schaefer, a very good runner, and he beat it out. Joey slipped over there going to his right on the wet infield. You can see where it's been watered. Trying to get some traction over there. He slipped and lost his footing.
Well, that wasn't a Joey Votto problem. That was Matt Latos not being at the first base bag in time. You've got Jordan Schaefer, who can scoot down the line pretty good, but you got to get there. See how he slows up before he gets to the bag? That's the second time he's done that in 3 ball games. What you work on in spring training is you get to the bag first and you hold there, and if you have to, you stretch out like a first baseman. You don't stutter step before you get there, and that's where Matt Latos has gone wrong. He could use a little PFP, because we've seen that to be a consistent problem of his. He could have gotten out there had he been on the bag.
That's 3 hits in the inning, and now 5 in the game for the Astros. And here's Altuve, who doubled down the right field line his first trip. Runner going, Schaefer, the throw through, and they've got him at second base. He disagrees, slams the helmet to the ground. Marvin Hudson points at that, and now Schaefer has been tossed out of the game. 2-4 on the caught stealing. Ejection of Jordan Schaefer, ending the top of the second for the Astros. They settle for 1. Take a look at it yourself.
Marvin Hudson got the call right. Jordan Schaefer, we've looked at it in the between innings from different angles, and he got it right. Jordan Schaefer didn't like it, and now he's going to get a fine immediately for throwing a piece of equipment. You're not allowed to do that. But then as he walked away, he said, "This is blankety blank," and that's when Marvin Hudson threw him out. But he wasn't confronting the umpire right there. I'll tell you. Maybe he said the magic word. I don't know, but I would think as an umpire, you got to have a little thicker skin than that, even though you got the call right in the first place. So kudos to Hudson for getting the call right. A little quick fuse, though.
Bruce leading it off. He launches a fly ball to left that will stay in the ballpark, and J.D. Martinez handles it for out number 1. So Schaefer ejected from the game in center, and Brian Bogusevic takes over. He started in right field on Friday, did not see action in yesterday's game, and in there today now. Schaefer does keep his hitting streak and his on-base streak alive despite playing only 2 innings, actually an inning and a half. He's now reached base in all 22 Houston games, and they'll get a chance to extend that tomorrow when they get home against the Mets.
You ever been ejected from a game, Jim Kelch?
Not that I can recall, but it's been so long since I actually played in a game.
Yeah, but wouldn't you remember if you got ejected?
I think I probably would. I don't recall. Back in the old American Legion days when my career came to a halt. You?
Yeah, I did. 12 years old by an umpire in Madeira. I told him to go to the place where there is eternal fire. And my dad proceeded to ground me for 3 weeks.
I thought maybe it was a game you were pitching in Indianapolis when you hollered up at the press box.
No.
Wasn't that one?
No, I just got Howard Kellman's attention in that one.
Toward the middle, cut off, spins, Lowry, got it. 2 out. The Reds fans, if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign today during the ball game, Dan Carsey of Columbus will win this beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark. You can register for your chance to win in an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Good luck today to Dan Carsey, Columbus, Ohio. Wonder if he's a Buckeye fan.
Thought it was mandatory up there.
We'll have to ask Tom. He doesn't live up there, but
he didn't go there. What would he know about that?
He's a big old Buckeye. You know that. He has his chart, I'm sure, at home, all the Buckeyes that were drafted over the last 3 days.
Yeah, I'm sure he does. And he was a Bobcat fan, of course, as the basketball Bobcats went deep into the tournament.
Wonder if they played each other, who would he be rooting for?
Oh, conundrum for him.
Put your dictionary away now.
My last 3-syllable word of the week. How's that?
Fair enough.
Or the day.
Or the day, yeah. Frazier batting with 2 out. Tide getting his 3rd start at third base. He's 4 for 4 as a pinch hitter this year. 1 out of 6 as a starter. Now he'll see a 3-2 pitch.
Those the giveaway sunglasses?
Sure they are. Those aren't the Sunglass Sunday glasses that Jim Day was sporting earlier, are they?
Well, Paul Lassard has one pair on, the more of the wire rims. I don't think those are them. Scott Rowland, no.
Now, those are the fashionable Oakleys right there.
I got you.
What kind that you wear?
I wear ones that were given to me.
Inning over. Reds go 1-2-3 in the bottom of the 2nd. Down 2-0 after 2. Game created by the Reds, but hopefully we'll get one a little bit later on. Stay with us. Later on during the game, our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Right now on FoxSportsOhio.com, the NFL Draft complete. Where do our Ohio teams stand now after the weekend? Plus, we look ahead to the next draft, the NBA Draft for the Cavaliers. Get it all on FoxSportsOhio.com, presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and SafeAuto.com. 2-0 Houston through 2. No, those aren't the sunglasses, but those look good. They're not the ones we speak, of which we speak. Not that Jim Day or Jeff Pecoro model those for us a little bit later in the game. So in case people weren't tuned in on the pregame, the Reds live pregame, you can see what we were talking about with those sunglasses.
Well, I'm glad Jim Day got a new pair, because the ones he's been sporting around here for years, the Elton John type,
right?
I think he needs to change the look a little bit. So maybe today will be the change for him.
You know how he and Change don't get along. Bruce will handle this fly ball off the bat of Altuve, who was at the plate when Schaefer was thrown out stealing and ultimately ejected, and he's out number 1. Our stat man extraordinaire, Joe Lucca, brings up a good point, Chris, with Schaefer ejected from the game and with Brad Bixler, the man who was optioned out today to make room for Lyles on the roster, and with Carlos Lee hurt, not much wiggle room on the bench for Brad Mills today.
Oh, you're right about that. I mean, he's already has kind of a short roster anyway, given the fact that he has some Rule 5 draftees, guys he picked up on the waiver wire that in some estimation around the league thinks, well, maybe they really aren't deserve to be big leaguers, but they have promise down the road. So he kind of he opens the game somewhat short compared to a lot of big league clubs. But he's holding his own in today's ball game. You know, speaking of that ejection, I just got a text from a friend of mine who was down 5 rows back behind first base in the 5th row yesterday, and said that Jordan Schaefer was very profane after a couple of his at-bats yesterday, and he, as a personal opinion, was glad he got tossed today, that the kid needs to grow up. I did not know that. And hey, on a PGA Tour, they fine you for saying bad language and bad words, and I don't think there's any room for it on the baseball diamond either. So,
well, whatever he said to Marvin Hudson, Marvin didn't like it.
Yeah,
we know that for sure.
Good. The magic word can get you tossed. I got another text in between innings from Dickie Duran, who's been going to the Reds fantasy camp for 20 years, and I played against him in not-hole ball, and he says, yes, I remember that game that you got ejected from, Chris. It was against my team. Yeah.
Wow.
He probably caused it.
Secretly.
Instigator.
Appeal at third is denied, so a full count now to Lowry with 1 out here in the top of the 3rd. Mentioned this Houston club comes back just one more time. That's in early September here. The Reds have 3 trips down to Houston this year. 2 of them in the early part of the year. 2 trips in May down there. A nice, what looked to be an off-speed delivery, and he gets the strikeout.
It was indeed an off-speed delivery. It looked like a little slider down and in. I think that's where Latos is finally beginning to make the adjustment. Not overthrowing it, not throwing it so hard you leave it high or bounce it. Perfect release point right there. Looks like a fastball coming out of his hands, and he picks up strikeout number 1.
So he's gotten the first 2 here. Deals with J.D. Martinez, who flied to center his first time. Shoots one out to right. Bruce covers the ground and gets there. And a 1-2-3 inning turned in by Matt Latos. Well, maybe he's found a groove now through 2.5. Cincinnati Reds with the MLB.com @Bat12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and much more. That's text @Bat to 31826 or visit Reds.com for details. Reds' third crack here at this 21-year-old right-hander, Jordan Lyles. Astros leading by a score of 2-0. Lyles 6'4", 210 from Florence, South Carolina. 3-3 last year with a 3.6 ERA with Houston before he was called up and, as we mentioned earlier, made that big league debut at the end of May against the Cubs. Threw very well in that game, 2 runs, 7 innings, but left trailing 3-1. Houston scored 6 late to win 7-3 in his debut game. He was not involved in the decision, and as I mentioned, took him till his 12th start early in August to finally get that first W that came against the Reds down in Houston. This year started again at AAA, leading the PCL in victories with 4. Kyle Weiland goes on the DL, and it'll be Lyles now that moves into his rotation spot. Hannigan's first at bat of the day. Hannigan trying to equal a career best in terms of hitting streak. Smashes this ball to second, but Altuve makes the play. And out number 1. He had a 9-game, check that, an 8-game hitting streak in 09. Comes into today with a 7-game streak. 1 out for Latos. Last weekend, under very cold conditions up in Chicago, the Reds took 2 out of 3 from the Cubs, and now the Cubs come calling here on Tuesday in a 3-game series against the Redlegs. Off day tomorrow, and then we'll have night game, day game, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here against Chicago. Bronson Arroyo against the long-haired Jeff Samardzija Tuesday night. Wednesday night, Homer Bailey against Paul Maholm. Thursday, Mike Leake will go for the Reds. The Cubs have yet to announce a pitcher. Then it's off to Pittsburgh, and the Reds go out for 6, Pittsburgh for 3, and Milwaukee for 3. The first chance to see those 2 teams this year. Going into action today, the Pirates are 9-11. They're 4.5 games behind St. Louis, only a half game behind the Reds. Milwaukee 9-12. They've lost 3 in a row, trying to avoid being swept today in St. Louis. That game starts in about 10 minutes. Latos, a strikeout victim, number 2 for Lyles. This baseball season, Fox Sports is proud to support the Boys and Girls Club of America, a place where youth can reach their full potential as productive, caring, responsible citizens. To learn more, please visit greatfutures.org/Fox Sports. 7 in a row now retired by Lyles.
Yeah, you were right about him being a native of Florence, South Carolina, which kind of clicked something with me, and that was the hometown, if I'm not mistaken, of Reggie Sanders, former great Reds outfielder. And now that I look it up, it's also the home of Mark Wahlberg, the actor. So that's about all you want to know about Florence.
There's a 1-2-3 inning from the Florence, South Carolina native, Jordan Lyles. Through 3, 2-0 Stros.
by King's Honda, the King's Auto Mall. Hear from the manager before anyone else. The most expansive Reds highlights and more. It's Reds Live coming up after the game. Chip Day with you. We're in the dugout. As promised, you boys were asking about the sunglasses. Sunglass Sunday. And here they are.
You know, those look a lot better, Jim, than I thought they would.
Well, the problem is I got a big noggin.
I hadn't noticed.
So it's hard to get the sunglasses to fit me.
How'd you get the sequins off those?
I heard you busting on me. The Elton John shades. You know, here's the difference between you and I, Welshie. I buy things.
Wow.
I like that difference, actually.
Where's that buzz he just threw you under?
He's my man.
Ludwig with the dive and the catch. And the retiring of Travis Buck for the first out here in the fourth.
You know, I think that's one of the really underappreciated things that the Reds got when they signed Ryan Ludwig. Was an outfielder that has had a very good reputation throughout his career for being a good defensive outfielder. I mean, how many left fielders have you seen that the Reds have had over the last few years that were so willing to leave their feet after a ball? Now, Johnny Gomes will leave his feet, no question. But usually the only time Adam Dunn or in the past Kevin Mitchell would leave him when he really didn't mean to.
True.
Ludwig can play out there.
No one will ever forget that Kevin Mitchell catch it with a bare hand, will they?
Mitch is the best.
Latos had a 1-2-3 third. Gets the leadoff man here. Works on Matt Downs, who tried Ludwig out and left his first time. And he'll give a shot to Stubbs this time in center or Bruce. It's going to be Jay who cuts in front. And he makes the catch for the second out. Batter will be Chris Johnson. Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting, healthier products for your menu. That's JTM. Latos trying to make it back-to-back perfect innings. He works on Johnson, who in the series is 3 out of 8. Doubled, scored on the squeezed bunt by Jordan Lyles back in the second. Castro, the 8-hitter, the catcher of the Astros, waits on deck. Smash to third. Frazier knocks it down, then can't find it. And Johnson is on. That'll be a hit. So Chris Johnson with an infield single here in the fourth is now 2 for 2 in this game. Boy, nothing against Todd Frazier, but you just come to see a ball like that, and even though it's an incredibly hard play, you come to expect that to be made when Roland's down there.
I don't know. Yeah, you know what? You put your glove down there and you hope that it takes the bounce that you anticipate right there. And, you know, you can't put Todd Frazier into Scott Roland's category, but certainly that is a very tough play.
Sure. So here's the pitcher, Lyles. Pardon me. Here's the catcher, Castro. Lyles on deck in the fourth. Houston leading 2-0.
The thing I'm wondering, though, is that Chris Johnson in this series has hit 3 doubles down the third baseline, all on breaking balls, either off-speed pitch changeup or curveball. Hit a curveball off a leak, hit a changeup earlier in the day, hit a curveball yesterday or breaking ball off of Johnny Cueto. And that again was an off-speed pitch, and he rips very hard down the third baseline. In fact, the Reds are fortunate that was only a single and not a double. And now Latos, he's just really struggling to find something in the way of rhythm. He had retired, 5 in a row before that base hit by Johnson, but now he goes 2-0 again, and when he's missing today, he's missing big time. These are one of those days where you just have to strap it in and go to battle.
And they get the number 8 hitter to leave the pitcher on deck to get him to lead off in the 5th. Houston trying to win today to make it 3 out of 4. Couple the 2 wins here if they get it with the win in Milwaukee to close out that series. They were 3-1 through their first 4 games. That's been their best record this year. Brandon handles this to retire the side. So Johnson left. Third stranded by the Astros. Middle of the 4th, 2-0 Houston. The JTM Food Group, creating great dishes together with the food service industry for over 30 years. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. For over 30 Toyota offers available now, visit buyatoyota.com, including mobile, and by AT&T, the nation's largest 4G network. AT&T, rethink possible. Another good crowd here on this Sunday afternoon, hoping for a Reds comeback victory today. Houston scored a run in the first, another run in the second. The Reds have been unable to muster anything yet against the right-hander Jordan Lyles. He walked Cozart in the first, and it's Cozart who leads off here in the 4th. Zach is the only base runner the Reds have been able to get thus far. Votto and Phillips to follow here in the home 4th. Quickly down 2 strikes, Cozart. This one's going to get out of play. He was jammed on that pitch. Fought it off to stay alive. Reds have been using the home run lately as a good portion of their offense. They come into this game having homered in 5 straight. Came into the series in terms of home runs middle of the pack in the National League. Cozart now will get a look at the 49th pitch of the game by the 21-year-old Jordan Lyles on this 2-2 delivery. And he hammers it in the left field. Let's see if he'll get extra bases. That ball cut off by Martinez. Hustling into second with the slide is Zach Cozart. There's the Reds' first hit. And the tying run in Votto will come to the plate as Cozart gets double number 6. Second on the club to the man coming up, Joey Votto.
Well, the best pitch in the arsenal of Jordan Lyles is that breaking ball, but he hung it up there that time, and on a 2-2 count, protecting the plate, Zach Cozart able to put a good level swing on it. Another performance Honda Exmo look. Those waist-high curveballs usually get hit hard, and Cozart rips this one down the left field line. Nice going.
High fly ball. That could tie it. That does tie it. Way out of here for Joey Votto. And it's a 2-2 game here in the bottom of the fourth.
Isn't it? Joey Votto is the one that nearly got beamed his last at bat by Jordan Lyles, and he comes up with a new resolution when he steps to the plate right here. I'm hanging in there, and I'm going to show this young man what Major League Baseball is all about.
Votto homered in the second game of the year here against Miami, a 2-run shot. That's only his second of the year. Both have been 2-run homers, and that is his 117th as a Reds first baseman, now tying him with Reds Hall of Famer this summer Sean Casey for 4th all-time on the Reds all-time home run list by first baseman.
Well, Brandon Phillips trying to continue a streak of his own, and it's kind of a bizarre streak. But Brandon Phillips now has 7 consecutive hits when coming through the plate in a tie ball game. That was a streak that only happened in the major leagues 4 times last year, and only Shane Victorino had one longer than Phillips this year of 8 in a row.
Where did you possibly dig that up?
My sources. There it is.
There it is. It ends.
My main man, Mitch Smith, our statistician in St. Louis,
came up with that.
Who watches us all the time and provides me a nugget every once in a while.
I was going to say, by the look on Joel's face to my left, that was not a stat that he came up with.
Nope.
His jaw dropped when you said that.
Well, that ought to breathe a little new life, though, into Matt Latos. So we'll see if he's able to react the same way that Joey Votto did. Boy, you could just kind of see it in his eyes, the look of determination by Joey Votto to after he was dusted by Lyles, come back up there and show this young kid what it's all about. He did. Nearly hit that ball off the power stacks.
Joey now at 13 in terms of runs batted in. Reds have now homered in 6 straight games.
Nice to see him turn on the ball a little bit, because he seems like he's been feeling for his swing, trying to hit the ball to left field so much that he's not getting that bat head through on pitches that he used to get him through. He's got plenty of power when he wants to get that bat head out of there.
Well, he continues an impressive streak of his own. He's now been on base in 21 of the 22 Reds games this year with that long ball. Bruce draws the walk. Go-ahead run on for the Reds here in the 4th inning. Joins Red Stars from the past and the present for the Reds Hall of Fame induction gala coming up on Sunday, the 24th of June, here in downtown Cincinnati at the Duke Energy Convention Center, presented by CincyFavorites.com. The gala will feature appearances and remarks by 2012 inductees Sean Casey, whom we just mentioned, Dan Dreesen, and more. For more information on the 2012 Reds Hall of Fame induction gala coming up on Sunday, June the 24th, you can call 513-765-7921 or visit redsmuseum.org today. Bruce is walked at second by Lyles. Now Ludwig, who grounded out his first time, will try to move the Reds right fielder along. Astros spotted a pair. Now the Reds have tied it on a 2-run homer by Joey Votto. Runner going. Pitch a strike. The ball bounces away. Bruce thinks about moving up, but backing it up in center is Bogusevic. So Bruce gets the stolen base, his third.
Nice to see the Reds pushing the running game a little bit. Jason Castro short hops the infielder Altuve as he comes over to try to block it and actually tries to pick it. Trying to make a quick tag, and fortunately for the Astros, the center fielder was charging hard.
2 stolen bases in this game, and now 4 out of 5 for the Reds in this series. Dusty was asked recently about the running game. He said, you know, we really haven't been in a position to do much running. Now a base hit gives the Reds the lead. Frazier waiting next.
Well, Jordan Lyles really hasn't had all that many deliveries to make out of the stretch. Reds had a runner on the first with 1 out. He went 1-2-3 in the second, 1-2-3 in the third. Home run given up by Votto. He went back to the full windup to get Phillips, and then he walked Bruce. So most of his deliveries on the afternoon out of the full windup.
Ludwig in the air to right. Buck will make the catch. 2 out. So if the Reds are to take the lead in this inning, Todd Frazier will try to make it happen. He grounded out his first time. You know the story about Frazier in terms of what he did earlier this year down in the minor leagues at Louisville. Thought he was going to make this club last day before the season started. They claimed Alfredo Simon off waivers from Baltimore, so he went down. Hit .231 with a homer and 7 RBIs down in Louisville in 9 games. Got the call here when Miguel Cairo went on the DL. Cairo's getting close. Dusty was asked in his pregame visit with the media today, is Cairo ready to come off of the disabled list? I believe his day is Tuesday when the Cubs come in. Foul ball by Frazier.
Have they indicated that he'll go down and do a stint at Louisville or somewhere in the minor leagues, a rehab stint, or is he coming right off the list?
I have not heard that.
Yeah.
His day is tomorrow, which would be Tuesday in terms of the next game. Went on the 17th with that left hamstring strain.
I mean, sometimes guys, if you're an everyday player, say you're Joey Votto and you go on the list, you want him back quickly as you can. But Miguel Cairo, you know, being a part-time player, you wonder if he doesn't get a whole lot of at-bats anyway. You wonder if they may send him down there even for just a couple of games to try to get his rhythm, get him 3 or 4 at-bats, a couple games in a row so that he's seen live pitching. Right now, all he's seen is, you know, Porky Lopez on the mound.
Well, we'll have to try to find that out. If not before, certainly come Tuesday when the Cubs are here. Let's find out more about the Miguel Cairo situation downstairs with Jim Day.
He says the big day is Tuesday, guys, where he runs the bases, so he will not come off on Tuesday. He's a day behind schedule, and he doesn't know if he's going to do a rehab stint, but things are pointing towards him being back this week.
Frazier strikes out. Thank you, Jim Day, who's had Miguel Cairo sitting right next to him down there in the dugout. Inning comes to an end, but Joey Votto's blast has tied this game here in the home fourth. Question of the day on this Sunday, April the 29th. Name the only two players to hit .401 or better in their postseason career since 1969. Two players hit .401, not 400, .401 or better in their postseason career since 1969 with a minimum of 50 plate appearances. Chris is over here strapping on his thinking cap.
This one might take a while.
Meanwhile, Jordan Lyles leads it off. 2-2 game, 5th inning. You always have to be thinking tie-ins. Hit number one, both players had career batting averages under 285. They've got one in mind. One in mind. Joel agrees with me to the left that he has one in mind. We're not sharing, however. Oh, Joel has two in mind. Hit number two. One went to the World Series with the Reds, the other with the Red Sox. Joel's shaking his head like he's got something in mind when it was his question. It's called misleading, Joel. Three and two now to Lyles. And a strikeout of the right-hander. That's striking number two for Latos, who gets the leadoff man here in the 5th. He had troubles in the 1st and 2nd, but a 1-2-3 third, a 4-batter 4th, and now the leadoff man gone here in the 5th. Here's Brian Bogusevic, his first time up since the ejection of Jordan Schaefer put him into center field. Bogusevic at 213, a homer, 7 RBIs. Played, in fact, started in right field on Friday, went 1 for 3. On base 3 times, once on an error by Phillips, once on a walk. Latos gets ahead of him.
Well, a lot has been made of Matt Latos being a fly ball pitcher and what this ballpark would do to him. Today's outs distribution, couple of strikeouts, 1 ground out, 8 fly balls overall, 2. One was a throw him out of second base and other, and we gave that sacrifice or that squeeze play under the category of other rather than a ground ball. But yeah, I mean, he's a fly ball pitcher, but only one of those fly balls looked like it had a chance to get out of here, and Drew Stubbs caught it right up against the base of the center field wall. That ball, by the way, in San Diego wouldn't have gotten anywhere close to the warning track. That'd be 40 feet from being out. So has not had a significant effect today anyway on Latos being a fly ball pitcher. Sometimes that's overblown. I mean, it's really more about missing the sweet spot and staying away from line drives than it is worrying about whether a guy's a fly ball pitcher or a ground ball pitcher.
But if you are a fly ball pitcher, you don't come into this ballpark and try to change your approach, do you?
Absolutely not. If you're a ground ball pitcher, though, and the defense that the Reds are throwing behind you every day, there's where you really want to pound the bottom of the zone. We showed you at the very open of the show how great the defense was yesterday for Johnny Cueto, Zach Cozart, Scott Rowland, Brandon Phillips, all making nice plays.
Another fly ball off a Latos delivery is caught out there and left by Ludwig. In our Mazda pitch-by-pitch sequence on this batter, Bogusevic. Just missed there. Two out for Altuve. 1 out of 2 with a double. Latos gets ahead.
It seems like everything that Altuve tries to do up there is hit that ball to right field. Double to right down the right field line. He's done that earlier in the series, and now he bangs one up the middle. But he's committed all about going the other way.
He waited on that curveball, Chris.
And that shows you that he's thinking about going to right field, because if he's cheating to get to the fastball, you don't wait on the curveball. If you're trying to hit everything the other way, you're going to be more in time in hitting that curveball. That time speeds his bat up a little bit. Instead of going to right field, he hits it up the middle.
Astros have now out-hit the Reds with that one by Altuve, 7-2, but we're at 2-2 in terms of score here in inning number 5.
I'd imagine this is a really good stolen base time for Altuve. You got 2 outs. You got a left-handed hitter up, which makes it a little tougher on the catcher. Altuve has 4 bags on the year, and you know Brad Mills has been pushing the running game, and you've got a pitcher out there that you can run on. So he's got a big lead out there right now off of Latos. Latos drops a slide step on him. Good idea there.
Chris, last week in Chicago, you were talking about the cutout being deceptive in terms of a lead. What about the cutout here at GABP?
I haven't measured it, Jim, but it looks like the cutout's pretty big. And so if you get a runner right to the edge of that cutout, I'm talking about right to the edge right there, then he's got a very big lead. And Altuve's got a big lead over there.
Some of those cutouts are sort of like quarter moons. This one, or quarter circle, this is sort of an angled edge down there.
Doug Gallant looked a little artistic. Now he's even got a little bigger move, or a bigger lead, with that right foot right at the edge of the cutout.
Latos gets the borderline strike call there to even things at 1. Lauer, the only switch hitter in their lineup, which is a huge change from what we saw against the Giants. What did they have, 6 in their lineup?
They had 5 or 6, and they were pushing the recent record. And what I mean by the record is the most switch hitters in a starting lineup for a team. You go back to the 1993 Mets. They had 7 switch hitters in their lineup. Don't ask me to name them. I did have that question from a fan after the ball game saying, man, the Giants had a lot. What's the most ever? And as far as Joe Luckham can tell, that is the most ever.
This ball club won. Man at the plate now, Lowry. A much better hitter from this side of the plate.
Latos is a little concerned with him, but he also knows that his move is not quick enough to really pick him off unless he just happens to catch Altuve napping or maybe taking a quick break. That's very much unlike Johnny Cueto. We've seen Johnny Cueto throw to first base, very quick feet, very quick move. Base runners have to snug it up a little bit. Against Latos, though, they're very liberal with their lead.
That's the move we're seeing more often than not, isn't it?
Yeah, that's just, he doesn't feel comfortable. You get to the point where you're thinking in the back of your mind, he's going on my first move, and I don't want him to. So let me just step off to over there and get my thoughts together again. Pitch in this at bat has been a fastball. I don't know if that's why they're throwing the fastball, because they got a runner on and they're trying to keep the stolen base from happening. 2-2 count now. I'm a little surprised he has not gone already. He's tried to paint that outside corner with every delivery, and he has just missed a couple times.
He'll be moving now as he stretches out down there at first base. 3-2 with 2 men out. Votto now moves behind the runner at first. Altuve on the move. A ball to right field will send Bruce back and back. And he runs out of room. A 2-run homer for Jed Lowry. Only his second of the year. And Houston has regained the lead at 4-2 here in the 5th.
Well, after going away all count long, that looks like just a fastball, a sinker that he tries to go down and away with, and Lowry just goes down and golfs that baby right out of here. It was down low. Lowry, a good left-handed hitter, is a switch hitter part. And he uses that short porch and right to bomb one out of here. So that is definitely an area where a fly ball hurt him.
To left field, and nicely played by Ludwig, who went to his knees and take it off the top of the grass. Take a hit away from Martinez and end the 5th, but not before the damage is done by Jed Lowry. And its answer, the 2 players to hit over 401 in their postseason career since 1969, minimum 50 plate appearances. There's Billy Hatcher at 404, former Reds player, former Houston player. Freddie Lynn the other, and here's Billy. What would this be, 25, 26 years ago? Famous backward run down toward first base. The candy striped rainbow striped jerseys that the Astros used to wear.
He can still hit. He went deep in the big game during the Reds fantasy camp.
Big part of that, isn't he?
He's a big part of that, but he's a huge part of it. He and Eddie Taubensee, the only quote-unquote pros that were able to go deep, but Billy's was a no-brainer. I mean, wow. He must have thought it was postseason or something the way he was swinging the bat. It was really early February.
You know, I'm wondering on that question why it didn't say the only 2 players to hit 403 or better, because it said 401 and it was 404 and 407. Joel?
Well, you're a stickler for detail, aren't you?
I try to be, Chris.
Yeah.
No, you just want things right.
Yeah, well, you...
50 years in Houston baseball being celebrated this year. Started as the old Colt 45s. We talked to Joe Morgan about that the other night.
I said they're going to bring the old Colt 45 jerseys back in a throwback day. And in order to be politically correct, they were not going to put the pistol, the Colt 45 pistol, on the jersey. They were just going to write 45s. And there was such an uproar of all the local fans there and around the Houston area that they were so proud of them being the 45s, and they wanted it the way it was, politically correct or not. And the team finally relented and said, all right, when we bring those throwback jerseys back, it will include putting a Colt 45 right on the jersey just like it used to be.
That, Chris, is called attention to detail.
Well, that's listening to your fan base. Because half of them probably carrying Colt 45s anyway. Well, at least back in the old days.
Back in the day, yeah. No
back in the days when they used to saddle their horses up next to the Astrodome. And
with the holsters?
Yeah.
I love that look, by the way.
Check your holsters on the way into the saloon.
Up the middle for Hannigan. Diving stop. Can he leg this out for a hit? He does indeed. And with that base hit for Ryan Hannigan, he's now hit an 8 in a row, and that equals his career best in terms of a hitting streak.
The guy has to be described as a pesky hitter. I mean, he fouls off a lot of pitches. He doesn't chase pitches out of the zone. He makes you throw strikes. He gets a lot of these kind of base hits, not infield hits, but balls that are up the middle. They make the infielders dive for him. Guy's a scrapper.
That gives Latos a chance to move him along if he can get the bunt down. That's what he is showing. He has 1 sack this year, and he's going to get another as Downs gives it to the second baseman Altuve for the sacrifice. It goes 3-4.
Well, I thought with as hard as that bunt was down that Matt Downs was going to come in, field that ball, spin and throw to second. It just looked like he fielded it, had a notion to do so, and then lost the courage to fire it. Maybe his arm doesn't feel good. You see him with that wrap around his right arm. Maybe his elbow doesn't feel good, and he just didn't feel like throwing that ball in the left field.
Top of the order now, and Drew Stubbs, who struck out and grounded out. Now 1 out of 10 in this series. Good chance for something right here, Drew. Hannigan retreats to second as Stubbs is close, but out at first for the second out. Reds fans, make sure to check the back of every game ticket this season for a great offer from McDonald's. Present your ticket at participating locations, and you can buy 1 McDonald's breakfast sandwich and get another one free. That's 2 hot, delicious McDonald's breakfast sandwiches for the price of 1, just for being a Reds fan. Check the back of your Reds ticket for full details. Chance for Kozar with a runner at second, 2 out. You know, they were only the Colt 45s, taking a look back here. They were only the Colt 45s for 3 years. 62, 63, and 64. So they changed their name. Down the line again for Kozar. That's going to be his second double of this game, and an RBI as Hannigan scores, making it 4-3. Twice Kozar has tried the wall and left. Twice he's been able to get a double.
And in back-to-back at-bats, he gets a pitch up in the zone. That was just almost in the identical spot that he hit a double down the line his last time up. He got a 2-2 curveball in the 4th. He rips this one down the line again here in the 5th and drives one in. So Zach Kozar safe at second, safe and secure.
New York life. Now they're going to walk, and this is not surprising. Walk Votto intentionally here to bring the right-hander Phillips to the plate. First RBI for Cozart since he drove one in St. Louis on April the 17th. So a little drought for him comes to an end, almost 2 weeks. Cozart now been on 3 times today. Walk by Votto, his 4th intentional walk. That puts the go-ahead run on for the Reds with Phillips up there. 3rd walk by Lyles. There's movement now down in the Astros bullpen area. Towards short. Brandon thrown out at first to retire the side, but the Reds inch closer with a run on a double by Cozart. Now down 4-3. Immediately hits the airwave with an explosive heavyweight bout between LeVar Johnson and Pat Barry, followed by 3 epic fights, including a 5-round showdown between lightweight contenders Jim Miller and Nate Diaz. UFC Fight Night on Fox, sponsored by Bud Light, live from East Rutherford, New Jersey, next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. 5-inning totals right there. 4-8-0 Houston, 3-4-0 Reds. Astros are stranded 3, Reds 4. Both starters still in there. Leto's 6th inning of work gets Travis Buck, who twice has flied out. Both times it's taken very good defensive work by the Reds. In the first, in center by Stubbs, who may have taken a home run away from Buck. And in the 4th inning, by the left fielder Ludwig. This one should be somewhat easier. Frazier, and Frazier handles it for out number 1. Remember to get ready for Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing here on Fox Sports Ohio. Everything you need to know for that night's game, only on your exclusive home of Reds baseball, Fox Sports Ohio. No game tomorrow, but back at it on Tuesday against the Cubs. 7:10 game. That means Reds Live, Jim Day, Jeff Pocoro at 6:30. Downs is twice flied out, once to left, once to center. Now he's down 2 strikes. 4-3 game. Houston by a run. We're in the 6th. 2-run homer by Jed Lowry put the Astros back in front. Lowry's 2nd home run of the year. It's 6 last year with Boston, 9 2 years ago with the Red Sox. That's a career best for him. 2 this year. Downs out of the University of Alabama. Played collegiately down there.
Yeah, he was one of those low-round draft picks that ends up making it to the major leagues. Was picked in the 36th round. Which means really you've had about 1,000 players in the draft picked before you by the time you make it. And hey, you know what? Those are the kind of guys sometimes overlooked by scouts, ends up working their way right through the minor leagues. And the key really to do that is to get out of the lower A ball. He did. He had 370, he had 310 and 388 his first couple of years in professional baseball. That put him on the prospect list.
Now, Chris, did I read this year that as part of the new contract that they're cutting the draft down to 40 rounds this year? That ball clears the wall in right field off of Matt Downs' bat. His first home run. And it is now 5-3 Astros. They lead again by a pair.
Well, we talked earlier about how being the fly ball pitcher that Matt Latos is has not hurt him so far. And that was in the 4th inning that we talked about that. But this definitely. You see they're trying to pitch Matt Downs away, trying to make him hit the ball the other way. And believe me, Matt Latos is thinking that ball's not even close to the warning track where he used to pitch in San Diego, but it slips over the fence into the first row here at Great American Ballpark.
Downs had 10 a year ago with his Houston club. He gets his first of the year. He's only playing at first base in this series because of the injury in the 1st inning on Friday night to Carlos Lee, which has put him on the bench. Downs had been 1 for 10 in this series prior to that home run.
Well, that's the kind of thing that you're going to get here at Great American Ballpark. I mean, somewhere Aaron Harang is chuckling. Somewhere Edinson Volquez is probably saying, yep, I've been there and I've lived through that. And every pitcher that has given up a cheapie here at Great American Ballpark, and there's been a bunch of them, will attest to the fact that you cannot let it get to your psyche. You're going to make 35 starts out here for the Reds, and half of them are going to be at home. And if you let that affect you, it's going to affect the way you pitch and how your performance ends up. So you got to put it out of your mind and you just go get them. And really, that's about as simple as you can boil it down.
Well, he comes back after the home run to get a strikeout of Chris Johnson. Now deals with Castro. Hope we can get him for the final out of the inning. Houston led 1-0 after 1, 2-0 after 2. Reds tied it on a 2-run homer to left center. Pardon me, to right center in the 4th by Votto. Houston regained the lead on a 2-run homer by Jed Lowry in the top of the 5th. Reds cut it down to 4-3 on an RBI double by Cozart in the bottom of the 5th. Now Houston's come back with a run here and a home run by Matt Downs. To right, just got over the wall. Lead again by a pair. Castro, a strikeout victim, second of the inning for Latos and his fourth of the afternoon. But the home run has extended Houston's lead back to 2 in the middle of the sixth. Penn Station East Coast subs. Find a Penn Station location near sections 130 and 414 and enjoy all the baseball action while eating a Penn Station signature sub and authentic fresh cut fries. See your Reds at GABP. Call 513-381-REDS or visit select Kroger locations or Reds.com. Jay Bruce to get it started here in the bottom of the sixth against Jordan Lyles. Last time the Reds saw Lyles as a starter was last year in August when he picked up his first big league win. He did make an appearance here later in the season out of the bullpen against the Reds. That was in September. That game in Houston back in August, he went 7, allowed 3 runs, 6 hits. In this game, he's working into the 6th. He's allowed 3 runs, 4 hits, hopefully more. Stroked to center by Bruce, but Bogusevic handles it. Jay is 0 for 2. 1 out for Ludwig.
Now this will probably be the last inning for Jordan Lyles. He's due first up in the inning as a batter, or at least, yes, he is first up in the inning. So very likely that Brad Mills will go to the bullpen if he can get through 6 right here and be very happy with a young effort by his right-hander. There's Wilton Lopez. He'll be the new Astro pitcher. That is, if Lyles can get through this inning. Maybe the Reds can make something happen against him and get Lopez in here in the 6th inning. The bottom part of the order really hasn't done much at all. Bruce, Ludwig, Frazier, Hannigan, Latos. You got 1 hit out of Ryan Hannigan out of that bunch, and a walk by Jay Bruce in the 4th inning. That's the only base runners that those bottom 4 have been able to get going.
That's 11 plate appearances, and Ludwig's now being number 12 out of that group.
Just about the entire offense this afternoon has been Cozart and Votto.
Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Take a walk on the wild side and visit the Cincinnati Zoo and Botanical Garden. Make it a weekend getaway. Book your stay at CincinnatiUSA.com.
Happy birthday to a couple of former Reds interns, Amy and Holly Ratliff, the twins who are celebrating their 29th birthday again. They brightened up things for a long time when He worked here in the PR department for Rob Butcher for years. So, happy birthday, ladies.
Happy birthday indeed. Speaking of birthdays, you know, we forgot, I think, yesterday. Ludwig is a strikeout victim. We forgot publicly to say happy birthday to one Joser Husen. Celebrated his birthday yesterday. The PA voice of Great American Ballpark. Running all around yesterday, and we had to stop him and say, Joe, settle down. It's your birthday. Celebrate it today.
There he is, or as he likes to be known as the voice of the Reds.
Voice of the Reds, Joser Husen. Off the end of the bat. And Lyles has himself a perfect 6, and now 3 times in this game, 1, 2, 3 frames. So we go to the 7th, down by a pair. Inning now, still a 2-run game, and in this one Matt Latos goes back to the mound. Chris, I guess it's one of those days for him. Hang in there and hope that your team can get over the top.
Well, if he's going to get the win, the Reds have to come back and he has to stay in the ball game. Simple as that. And I think that he probably went to Dusty Baker and said, hey, don't bring Arredondo in right now. This is my game. Let me see if I can't go out there, put another 0 on the board, give my guys a chance to maybe tie the game up or come back. They're only down by 2. Not the kind of start he wanted, but it certainly isn't the kind of start that you're just going to forget all about. I mean, you're still in the ball game here that the Reds very desperately want to win.
His 6th inning totals, 5 runs, 9 hits. He has not walked anyone. He has struck out 4. He gets the pitcher Lyles, who likewise stays in there. Chris, you'd speculated that you thought maybe that'd be it, but after a 1, 2, 3, 6th, Brad Mills keeps him in the game.
I'm a little surprised by that, really. Actually, maybe he just doesn't have much faith in his bullpen. Either that or the fact that he figures that with the low pitch count that Jordan Lyles needs to figure out what it's all about by going deeper into a ball game than just going 6 and then flying out of there. So I happen to like this strategy, but we'll see if the Reds can't take advantage of it. They have not been able to figure out Jordan Lyles yet, so maybe he just doesn't like the unknown to go in the bullpen.
Now Latos has gone full to him. Lyles has thrown 95 pitches. And this is his first start since his recall from AAA Oklahoma City, where he started this season. Foul ball playable. Hannigan, and Hannigan handles it. Votto was charging down the line as well. Almost looked like there the Hannigan didn't locate that ball right away.
Well, that's why Votto needs to come in and do that. I mean, everybody needs to help. You got a sky like we have today, which is very gray. The ball can be lost up there. You're a catcher. You flip the mask off, you look up, and sometimes you look up and you don't pick the ball up. Joey Votto, leaving nothing for chance, came roaring all the way in from deep first base position just in case Hannigan couldn't get it. Teamwork.
Here's Bogusevic. Flied out to left in his only at bat so far this afternoon after taking the place of Jordan Schaefer, who was ejected back in the top of the second. Latos had given up 2 home runs, 22 and a third innings coming into today's game. 1 to a righty, 1 to a lefty. Today he's given up 2 to Lowry batting left and to Downs batting right.
Yeah, neither of those balls exactly crushed either,
right,
but they go for home runs. I mean, it's just kind of the story of life here at Great American Ballpark.
This is not a home run hitting club. They'd only had 11 home runs in this series. Hadn't hit any yet in the series. And here we have Matt Kemp last night of the Dodgers, Chris, hitting his 11th of the year. And this team has 11 as a ball club. That's going to be a hit for Bogusevic. There's the graphic. Look, Kemp has 11. Coming into today, the Pirates and the Padres and the Astros had 11. The Cubs only have 8. Houston now with the 2 today has 13. Kemp has had one heck of a month out there.
Well, you're not kidding about that. I mean, he's just simply an animal, which would ask kind of a strange question. But if you were running the Houston Astros, would you trade your whole team for Matt Kemp?
Dusty Baker to the mound. Latos is out of the game. He gets the leadoff man, then gives up the hit. He'll go 6 1/3 in this game, and the Reds turn to the bullpen and call on Jose Arredondo. Our skyline call of the bullpen means Latos out, Arredondo in. Unbelievably good as of late.
Well, he makes his 10th appearance overall, Arredondo does, and he's not given up an earned run since the second game he's pitched in. That was way back in the beginning of April against the Cardinals, where he gave up a 3 spot in the 3rd of an inning. But he's put on really nothing but zeros on the board.
He's retired 16 straight hitters, 9 of those via the strikeout as he comes in today.
6 strikeouts in the last 3 innings, so he's got that little split finger working.
Matt Latos leaves after 6 1/3. Giving up 5 runs, 10 hits, no walks, 4 strikeouts, 2 home run balls. Bogusevic at first is his responsibility. Altuve at the plate now, and boy, you just continue to look at the numbers of Matt Latos. 5 starts now, 1 really good start. That was the last time out. But you go back to thinking about what Dusty Baker loves to say. Things seem to even out for players. They seem to do what they do in the back of their baseball card year in, year out. And when you look at Latos, and it may sound like an excuse, but April has never been a good month for him.
It is what it is. I mean, his earned run average in April is way worse than any other month. And, you know, he's like a lot of power pitchers that sometimes just take a little bit longer to get going.
You compare his month, not counting today's start, he had an ERA of over 5.5 in the month of April, and the rest of the season nothing higher than a 3.8. And for instance, his career May is 2.41.
Right. You just hope, though, that he doesn't let the dimensions of this ballpark get into his head.
That's a good point. Up the ladder, but Cozart can't get it, and that's a base hit for Altuve. He's 3 for 4 now today.
I'll tell you what, this guy's out to trying to make the believer out of people. At 5 feet 5 inches, a lot of people say, well, why would you even draft a kid that small? Because obviously baseball's now becoming a bigger man's game, and you know, some teams wouldn't even look at a player 5'5". But I mean, 3 hits on the day. He had did not have a great day against Johnny Cueto, but hit a triple and a double in that game that was started by Mike Leake. Hitting well over 360 on the season.
That's the first base runner giving up in the last 5 outings plus today for Arredondo. He mentioned he had retired 16 straight till that hit now by Altuve. Here's Jed Lowry, his home run, the difference in this game, that 2-run shot he hit in the 5th. Stubbs retreating for out number 2. Bogusevic will tag, move along. Here's J.D. Martinez.
Just normal hustle for Brian Bogusevic going from second to third right there. But when you've got a split finger pitcher on the mound like Jose Arredondo, who can sometimes bounce that splitter in the dirt, it comes big. He had 4 wild pitches last year. Certainly don't want to have one right here with a runner at third base, which would make it a 3-run game. So heads up to Ryan Hannigan.
Martinez hitless today, 1 for 10 in the series. He's driven in just 1 run in this 3-game set. J.D. Martinez, an RBI single in the 3rd on Friday. He's their main RBI man. Came into today 4th in the National League and runs batted in with 19. Walks Martinez, so the bases are loaded with 2 out. First walk issued today by Reds pitching. We'll bring Travis Buck, left-handed hitter, to the plate against the right-hander Arredondo. lefties do not have a hit this year against Arredondo. Good off-speed pitch, and now it's 0-2. Cozart out, Stubbs in. Cozart stays with it, and the shortstop retires Travis Buck. That ends the 7th inning for the Astros. They load him up on a couple of hits and a walk, and now have stranded 6 on the day. But as we stretch and keep it right here for God Bless America and Take Me Out to the Ball Game, Houston in front by a couple at 5-3.
In our local police
Crack. They'll look at a new pitcher in this game. This is right-hander Wilton Lopez relieving Jordan Lyles.
I guess on the surface, somewhat of an unusual move by the Astros manager Brad Mills to let his pitcher hit in the top of the inning and then replace him in the bottom of the inning. Wilton Lopez, 11 games now for this right-hander. He's been very good against the Reds, an earned run average of 1.5 in his 12 career appearances against this Redlegs team.
Lopez, like Arredondo when he entered, has a streak going. He's retired 17 straight batters. Let's see if the Reds can do something about that with Hannigan batting first. Heisey on deck to bat for Arredondo. There's another solid stroke by Hannigan. He's really swinging the bat well. He's 2 for 3 today. Tying run will come to the plate.
Hey, Ryan Hannigan has shown himself to be one of the better number 8 hitters you can find, because you want somebody who's not going to chase a lot of pitches, because in the number 8 spot you get pitched around so much with the pitcher coming up next. Now, not necessarily in this inning where you've got a pinch hitter coming up, but he doesn't chase pitches. He makes contact. You can hit and run with him, and he just really settles in very nicely in number 8. Not a lot of guys like it, but he's taken to it.
Here's Heisey, who seems to save his best work for coming off the bench as a pinch hitter. On the year, he's at 195 with 4 runs batted in. As a pinch hitter, he's 2 out of 3. He and Frazier together are 6 of 7 pinch hitting. Arredondo then goes 2/3 of an inning. Gives up a hit and a walk. Final line on Matt Latos, Red starter, 6 1/3 innings, 5 runs all earned, 10 hits, and that's a career high in terms of hits given up for him. 10. Walked no one, struck out 4, touched up for the long ball twice. Pitcher of record. Quality start for Lyles. 3 runs, 4 hits, 6 innings, 3 walks, 1 intentional, 5 strikeouts for the Houston starter. And he likewise the pitcher of record this juncture of the game. 5-3 Houston, home 7th. Shoots it in the left. Another pinch hit for Heisey. He's 3 for 4 now as a pinch hitter. And here come the Reds. 2 on, nobody out. Bottom of the 7th.
Now, the right-handed pinch hitters for the Reds so far this year have been very good if their name is Heisey or Frazier. And Chris Heisey, once he worked that count to 3 balls and 2 strikes, he was figuring he was getting the fastball. He's a good fastball hitter.
Heisey has been something. He came into this game as a .350 career pinch hitter.
3-2, looking for a heater. Right down Broadway it comes. Lopez did not want to walk a batter, and he's got himself in enough hot water that Brad Mills looks like he's going to go to the bullpen.
Mills turning on both sides. Devin Mesoraco comes into second base and runs for Hannigan. Brad Mills to the mound. He'll look to the bullpen, and the Astros will employ their 3rd pitcher of the afternoon. This is David Carpenter into the game. call, and Boys in the Hall, the personal stories of some of baseball's greatest legends. This afternoon will feature Milwaukee Braves Hall of Famer Warren Spahn. Boys in the Hall coming up on Fox Sports Ohio today after the game, presented by Subway Restaurants, where winners eat. David Carpenter takes over here. Second pitcher of the inning, third of the day for Houston.
Now, they got him from the St. Louis Cardinals, they did, and for infielder Pedro Feliz a couple of years ago, made his major league debut last year. So far, he's been in 8 games, 9 including this ball game, and thrown the ball very well. So one right-hander out in Lopez. Carpenter comes in with a couple of guys on and nobody out, and the Reds rallying.
Reds try to do something against Carpenter here today. They were unable to really get to him at all last year in 4 innings, 4 games and 3 innings, a 0 ERA.
Now, there was a pinch runner out there. There's Devin Mesoraco. He might be a step or a step and a half faster than Ryan Hannigan. So in a bunt situation, if that's what Dusty's figuring on, it's not easy for that base runner to get to third base unless this is a very good bunt.
Toward the mound, and a throw to third, and they get the out.
Well,
not
that's
a good
where
bunt.
you just have to get the bunt down to the third base line. If Stubbs is able to do that, there's no defense for it. But if you bunt it right back to the pitcher, he's charging hard right up to shoot. And his best and easiest play is probably to third base. He knows ahead of time where he's going, and it's a nice, easy force play right there. And
easy for that right-hander to get it, spin and throw.
well, it's
like
even easier for a left-hander,
right.
but I mean, right up to shoot. You're asking for to get that lead runner.
So now it's Cozart, who twice has come through with doubles. Izzy out at second base. Stubbs at first, so good speed on the bases here as Cozart takes strike 1. He's been on 3 times.
Yeah, so maybe they can take advantage of that speed on the base paths. If Izzy can get a big enough lead at second base, there's no way that they're going to throw the tail runner out in Stubbs because the first baseman's not holding him. So maybe if you can't get the bunt down, you can steal the base. But got to be very disappointing. I mean, really, Drew Stubbs should be the best punter on this ball club. And you got a game plan. If you're Dusty Baker, you're thinking, all right, this is what I want to do. Basic baseball. And it backfires on you.
Cozart trying to come through here against David Carpenter. So far this year, right-handers hitting only 190 against him.
I tell you, really not much in the way of infielders holding Chris Heisey on out there at second base. Jose Altuve, he's playing close to the bag right now, but by the time Carpenter comes to his stretch and is ready to throw, he's back here somewhere. And when he's able to give that extra space, Heisey really needs to get himself a bigger lead, see if he can't stretch this thing. At least get as far away as the infield. Now get off the bag.
Not getting that secondary lead that you always hear about. Two and two to Cozart. Chased over and foul ground by Johnson. Just out of his reach. He lunged in there, couldn't quite get it, maybe a row away from his glove. Boy, that's close.
Banged his head going into the stands right there. Maybe hit himself on a chair. Wonder if he's bleeding. So nobody really jockeying HOU at second base, and of course the first baseman playing well behind Drew Stubbs.
How about a gap shot right here on a 2-2 pitch? Another 2-2 pitch forthcoming here from the right-hander Carpenter to the Red shortstop Cozart. First and second with one out. Big point of this game here in the bottom of the seventh. Sixth strikeout for Houston pitching. Cozart almost looked there, Chris, like he might have been thinking of something other than a fastball.
Well, with 2 strikes on you, you're just trying to protect the play. That happened to be a very good breaking ball right there by David Carpenter. So Carpenter gets the punch out, although Cozart's had a good day. A couple of doubles and a walk. And now a quick trip by Doug broke care of him out. And I mean, you wouldn't think that there would be a walk in order, but this could be a good old-fashioned pitch around right here.
So here's Votto. Home run, 2 at-bats ago. Scoring Cozart is second of the year. Joey this year, runners in scoring position now at 4-12, 7 for 17. One ball, 1 strike. That may tie this game. 1 run will score. That makes it 5-4. Here comes the speedy Stubbs. Here comes a throw. It is wide. And Joey Votto has come through again for the Reds here in the 7th inning, driving in 2. He's driven in 4 today, and we are dead even at 5.
Swing by Joey Votto. It was almost like he got out there and guided that ball down the right field line. That pitch down and in, a nasty slider that he somehow keeps fair. Right past the diving Matt Downs, down the line, and with all the speed the Reds have on the base pass, HOU no problem, but here comes Drew Stubbs, and he's got it turned on.
Nicely done indeed by Joey Votto, and he gets a standing O from the crowd of over 31,000 here. It has turned out to be a sunny Sunday afternoon. And now Votto, with 2 men out, represents the go-ahead run with Phillips at the plate here in the 7th. Carpenter charged with a blown save. Close the book on Wilton Lopez. 2 runs, 2 hits, did not retire a batter. Latos will not suffer the loss in this game.
Now let's see if Brandon Phillips can get that streak going again that was broken earlier in the ball game, where he had at one time 7 consecutive hits with the score tied. It's tied up again. Base hit here would put the Reds up.
Reds have never led today, but have the opportunity here. Bogasevic right in front of the wall handles that deep fly, and the Reds do get a pair. That's what they settle for, and we head to the 8th, dead even at 5. For all selected pediatric specialties in U.S. News and World Report's 2010 Best Children's Hospitals. And by the dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado and your tri-state Chevy dealers. New battery for the Reds. Desmond Mesoraco, who pinch ran for Hannigan, stays in the game behind the plate. Logan Ondrusek, the new man on the mound.
Logan Ondrusek, you can't be a whole lot better than that. In fact, you can't be any better than throwing zeros up there. No record but an earned run average of 0.00, and see if he can't keep it right there. With the Reds tied at 5, they need a good outing from their bullpen, and Mesoraco will take over behind the plate after running as a pinch runner for Ryan Hannigan.
Opponent's hitting is 171 against Logan Ondrusek. He was asked about the key to Ondrusek doing so well early this year, and he said the key to Ondrusek's work has been the starters going deeper into games. Thus, he hasn't had to work as much. Downs leads it off. Reds came back from 2-0 to tie it at 2. Came back from 4-2 to get within 1 at 4-3. Came back from 5-3 down to tie it at 5. The 2-run double by Votto has driven in 4 today and has 15 on the year. To the mound, and the big man fields the ball and runs it almost all the way to first. 1 out. Now, like Bruce yesterday, Joey Votto within 1 of a career high RBIs, career best 5. Today he has 4. Here's Johnson. The Astros have had a hit in every inning with the exception of the third when Leto set them down in order. Reds bullpen entered action today with an ERA of 2.92. Haven't given up 14 less hits than innings pitched. Stubbs has it measured, 2 out. Longtime Reds fans have a special invitation to join the Reds at the ballpark on Thursday, May the 3rd, when they take on the Cubs for Senior Day, presented by Tri-State Centers for Sight. Reds fans 60 and older can purchase non-premium tickets at half price in advance of game day only. Plus, each ticket includes free admission on May the 3rd to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum, thanks to Humana. For tickets, 513-381-REDS. Visit select program locations or Reds.com.
Well, Logan Andrusic making it look real easy right now, just like he did last year during the month of April, May, June. It wasn't until they really started piling on the innings for Andrusic where he began to have some problems, ended up on the disabled list with a sore elbow, but he's always been very good out of the gate.
Yeah, those first 4 months last year, he was Mr. Dependable. Working here to get the Houston catcher, Castro. Record the first 1, 2, 3 frames since the third. Reds in their 8th. Bruce, Ludwig, Frazier. Leto 6 1/3, 5 runs, 10 hits for the Reds. Arredondo 2/3 of an inning, no runs, 1 hit. Now Andrusic, and he gets the batter Castro. He does have the 1, 2, 3, 8. Reds come up in the bottom half, looking to take their first lead of the day. How about Joey Votto? 4th inning. Right center field. Number 2 of the year for Joey Votto. That home run in the bottom of the 4th tied the game at 2. He's since driven in 2 more with that double in the bottom of the 7th, but the home run or Miller time moment of the game. 2 homers now. 15 RBIs in the year for Joey Votto. 5-5 game, bottom of the 8th, new pitcher on.
And his name is Fernando Rodriguez, the fourth right-hander that Brad Mills has run out there. And he'll face a lefty and a couple of righties coming up in this inning for the Reds. The first one being Jay Bruce.
Bruce is 0 for 2 with a walk. Rodriguez worked an inning on Friday, first game of this series. High fly ball, hit pretty well by Bruce, and 4 in 4 days. Jay Bruce, 4 home runs in 4 days, his 7th of the year. And the Reds, twice down by 2, now lead here in the bottom of the 8th, 6-5.
The short porch giveth, the short porch taketh away.
They scramble for that ball out in the sun deck. The Reds now lead 6-5, and that'll mean Sean Marshall time in the top of the 9th inning. In 4 days for the first time in his career. Jay Bruce. Couldn't come at a better time, could it?
Boy. Tie ball game, bottom of the 8th. You come from back off the mat where it did not look good earlier in the ball game. The Astros, pesky as they are, they got the lead, gave it up, got the lead again. And Jay Bruce is the difference right now.
Second home run ball given up by Fernando Rodriguez this year, as now he gets Ludwig on strikes for the first out of the inning. We've seen some clutch hitting from the Reds today. The 2-run homer by Votto, the RBI double in the 5th by Cozart, the 2-run double by Votto in the 7th, and now this one here in the bottom of the 8th by Bruce. Now the Reds look at the 9th inning, 3 outs away from winning their 8th straight series here at Great American Ballpark against the Astros. Their 3rd straight series this year overall, starting with the Chicago series up at Wrigley Field last weekend, then the Giants series earlier this week, and now this one. And into the off day tomorrow, if they can get the job done here this afternoon. 500 record going into the off day tomorrow in the Cubs series that starts on Tuesday. Those are the feel-good moments Dusty was talking about prior to the game today. This club got to 9-9 with that victory over the Giants in the second game of the series, and looked like they were on the cusp of going above the 500 mark. The Giants snatched victory from defeat in that 3-run homer in the 9th inning by Angel Pagan on Thursday. The Reds lost here on Friday, but dominant performance yesterday, 6-0, and right now a come from behind lead in the bottom of the 8th today, 6-5. And Frazier is aboard for the first time today via the walk.
Another birthday wish going out to 16-year-old Ricky Ruhlman. 16, remember you turned 16, Jim Couch? Got behind the wheel, drove your car around, so happy birthday, young man.
You drive around at 16? Cruising the streets?
I wouldn't say cruising. I was cruising up and down the driveway. That didn't take long.
Learning how to drive the old stick shift, no doubt. First at bat of the day for Mesoraco, and he continues the hitting ways for the Reds catchers this afternoon. Hannigan had been 2 out of 3, and now Mesoraco singles, and so a chance for more here in the bottom of the 8th, 2 on, 1 out.
Well, both hits in this inning have come on the first pitch. Jay Bruce laid into the first one that he saw from Rodriguez, and that first pitch hitting of Devin Mesoraco, lines went into that 5.5 hole between shortstop and third base.
Like he pulled the outside pitch right there. Scott Rowland has emerged from the dugout. He will pinch hit for Andrusic. He had a pinch hit base hit earlier this year that won the game against Miami on Easter Sunday. Here he comes off the Reds bench now to pinch hit with 2 on and 1 out. He's at 186 on the year. There's his career pinch hitting numbers, and they are excellent to say the least. 2 home runs, 8 RBIs on the year for Rowland.
Now the noise meter here has this crowd all frothed up. A lot of them have stayed around. Nice crowd here on a Sunday afternoon. Big hit right here would go a long way to making a lot of people happy.
Evens the count at 1. First career at bat for Rowland against this right-hander, Fernando Rodriguez, as Sean Marshall 4 for 5 in save situations with the Reds this year. Heats it up in the bullpen. Stubbs waits on deck. There's your base runners against Fernando Rodriguez. 6-5 Reds, bottom of the 8th. Hammered into the crowd past the third base dugout. Considering the weather this weekend, boy, this has been a very well attended series. Just under 30,000 on a terrible weather night Friday night. Yesterday, just shy of 33,000. And today, over 31,000. And the sun has peeked through in the last couple of innings. The Reds have fought back with 3 runs in the last 2 frames. Lead by 1 right now.
Now you send them home happy. They'll be in a hurry to get back.
Well, we'd sure love to see a lot of them out here for this upcoming Cubs series and keep that blue out of here, wouldn't we, Chris?
Not worried too much about the blue this year. Rodriguez is pretty much keeping the fastball on rolling, so you figure on a 3-2 count after throwing the 2 previous pitches as fastballs. Here comes another one right here. Ought to be a pretty good hitting spot for Rowland.
2 on with 1 out.
Breaking ball. How about that? And he walked it.
The pinch hitter draws the free pass, and now they're loaded for Drew Stubbs, sending Frazier to third as Rocco down to second. Stubbs in the game is 0 for 4. Tried to bunt the runners along in the 7th. Unsuccessfully reached and then scored on the 2-run double by Votto.
You got to be looking to be very aggressive right here. Bases loaded, nowhere to put him. Infield plan in. If he gets a fastball first pitch, go ahead and let it rip.
That's been his MO this year. And that's indeed what he does right there.
Of course, the Astros looking for the double play, which would be awfully difficult considering you've got Stubbs at the plate. Their first play is to come home. They're already down 1. They don't want to go down another one. Same thing goes right here if you're thinking along with Drew Stubbs. All right, first pitch fastball, fouled it back. Next pitch breaking ball, down now the zone. You want to go to a 2-1 count? Probably looking heater right here. Exactly what he did.
Stubbs took it. Now he's in the hole, 1-2. Frazier, Mesoraco, and Rowland run the bases. Dusty looks on from the Reds dugout. Brad Mills the same from the third base side. Rodriguez gets what he wants. And he goes from 1-2 to 3-2 to Stubbs. Cozart next. Making some noise now here at Great American Ballpark. Rodriguez took too much time. Stubbs steps out. Drew 1 career grand slam. Came here against the Cubs in 2010. Chased one out of the zone, it appeared there, and strikes out for the second out of the inning. So now to make this a big inning, the Reds need something from Cozart. Zach today 2 for 3. Pair of doubles in the middle of the game. Scored a run in the 4th. Drove one home in the 5th. That's with the bases loaded here. Cozart did not face Rodriguez on Friday night. Missed him by 1 batter. Houston trying to keep it a 1-run game. Reds trying to give Sean Marshall some wiggle room in the top of the 9th. Jay Bruce's home run here in the bottom of the 8th. First pitch of the frame against Rodriguez has given the Reds the lead at 6-5. Chance for more with the bases loaded, 2 out. Now he'll look at a 2-1 pitch. Votto waiting on deck. Joey's driven in 4 today. Everybody ready. Big strikeouts here in the bottom of the 8th by Rodriguez. First Stubbs, then Cozart. Reds leave them loaded, but do get the lead on the home run ball by Jay Bruce. As in fact, that is our Nissan drive of the game as we go out. Number 7 for Jay Bruce means a 1-run lead for the Reds. Going to the 9th, our Nissan drive of the game. Play of the game. A couple of them from you. Out in left field by Ludwig. Good diving effort there by the Reds left fielder. And then how about this one? Off the top of the grass. Brian Ludwig with a John Morrell hot dog play of the game. Changes for the Reds. Scott Rowland pinch hit, stays in the game. He's now at third base. Frazier leaves. The new pitcher on, trying to shut this one down in the 9th, Sean Marshall.
Well, Sean Marshall wants to get back out there and redeem himself after giving up a 3-run bomb to Angel Pagan at that third game of a 3-game set against the Giants. Blew that game and with that home run, but has 1-run lead right here with which to work.
Justin Maxwell pinch hits to start the 9th inning.
9-1-2 for the Astros.
Marshall 4 out of 5 in save situations. Maxwell hitting .250 on the year. He pinch hit on Friday. That was against Arredondo and struck out. Played yesterday in center but did not have an at bat. Maxwell 3 for 9 with a pinch hit home run this year. Marshall saved his first 4 games, had the blown save on Thursday against San Francisco. Looks to bounce back here. He gave up the home run ball to Pagan, equaling his home run total that he had given up all of last year as he gets the pinch hitter on strikes. Good start here. That's the difference really in this game. One of them anyway between that game on Thursday. Lost that leadoff man.
Well, the home run ball that he gave up to Andrew Pagan was a breaking ball. And it really wasn't a whole lot of different spot than it was that. Maybe just a little bit higher. Pagan just happened to get his bat out there and rode it on out of here. Just because you give up a home run on one of your best pitches, you're not going to stick it in your pocket for the rest of the year. He's got to use all of them. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup. Especially tough against left-handed. That is a wicked breaking pitch to negotiate if you step up in that left-handed batter's box.
Bogusevic in this game 1 for 2. Marshall gave up that home run ball to Pagan. It was the first one he'd given up in 66 appearances dating back to the 13th of May last year when he gave up the only home run ball that they touched him up for a year ago. That was Cody Ross. Did it at Wrigley Field as a member of the Giants on the 13th of May. Here he is back out there, first time since then. Phillips takes a hit away from Bogusevic. Timing that out perfectly, going to his left.
Now, we have seen in this 3-game series with the Astros, every one of our Reds infielders make a superlative play. In the 9th, it's Brandon Phillips' turn. Well, that's some tight D.
The outfielders have gotten in on it as well. We've seen Stubbs make a good catch in center today. Ludwig a couple out in left field. Altuve now against the lefty Marshall. 3 for 4 today. Came in 3rd in the league in hitting. He stands in the way of a series victory for the Reds right here. Rolling. Votto. Reds win. Reds a winner, their 8th consecutive series win against Houston. They win it today, 6-5.